New at 4 in today's Community Focus, Governor Dan McKee joins us live in studio. Governor, thanks for being here.
Okay, Kim, thank you for the invite.
I want to dive right in. We heard from you earlier in Hannah Cotter's story at the top of the hour, and I've noticed that you've taken sort of more of a laid-back tone than some of your fellow Democrats when it comes to reacting to some of President Donald Trump's policies and actions. Is that a conscious decision on your part, or do you think maybe some of the other reaction is a bit overdramatic?
Well, I think that you're going to be careful to make sure that if you're going to throw a punch, it should land, right? So, but I think that we have really, you know, put the first salvo out there with our courts, Rhode Island courts, actually pushing in a national way to say that the funding that the Trump administration is trying to deny us, that's not going to pass muster from the courts. And we really need to rely on the courts, Ken, right now. The courts need to step up. You've got a situation where a president wants to change the Constitution, right, with executive orders. The one that concerns me the most is, quite frankly, is giving pardons to people who stormed our Capitol, you know, hurt people, killed people, destroyed our, you know, really attacked our democracy. And yet at the same point in time, the pardons come and then you're going after the very people who actually uphold our rule of law by either terminating them or putting them on notice or even potentially prosecuting them. This is a very serious thing. Even my friends who are Trump supporters are saying this is just too far to go, you know, to push back in a way that really puts our democracy at risk. It's really pretty risky.
Let's turn our focus more locally now. Earlier this month, the website Boston Business Journal broke the news that Hasbro is eyeing a building in Boston's Seaport District for its new headquarters. When was your last conversation with Hasbro's CEO, Chris Cox, and did he give you a timeline for his decision on this?
Well, he let us know that there was a board meeting last week, actually right here in Providence, and we haven't heard from them since they had that board meeting. They were looking at three possible options, right? Either a Boston option, a Providence option. I think that we provided them a very good proposal. I think it's tough for them to walk away from. And then they're also reflecting on what's happened out of Washington. The tariffs are impacting that industry. You know, not only just them, but other manufacturers that rely on you know, the tariffs. So, you know, it's either a hold or it's a decision to move to stay in Rhode Island or a decision to go to Boston.
So you're waiting to hear more.
Yep.
Earlier this week, you and the Education Commissioner, Angelica Infante-Green, announced a plan to give Providence control of its schools back in 2026. The mayor says he learned about that through the media. Why not tell him sooner or invite him to be a part of that?
Well, the mayor and I have had ongoing conversations about this. He came to my office and said that he was looking for 25. I let him know at that point in time that was not something that I would agree to. But he's had ongoing conversations about me personally talking to him about trying to figure out a way before his first term's over, if certain conditions are met, we could do it as early as 26.
I want to ask you about the Cranston Street Armory. We haven't talked about that in a while. What's going on behind the scenes? Any plans for the use of that building?
Right now, no. There's no real plans. We don't have any prospects. We'll continue to look at that as a potential way to maybe address some housing there or some way to, you know, take a look at that Rhode Island 2030 plan and what fits into our Rhode Island 2030 plan. But there's nothing on the schedule right now. We're appropriating dollars to keep the building maintained, and at this point in time, there's really nothing more to update on that, Kim.
Speaking about the 2030 plan, I want to talk about politics a little bit. Your team said you'll be making an announcement about your re-election bid on March 3rd, with more details coming potentially this week. Can you tell us anything more?
Well, I think that we said enough. I clearly made it very clear, and it's been reported, as I've been saying, that you know, that I'm going to be running in 26, and we'll make it a formal strategy. I think it was mentioned March 3rd. So we'll be prepared to kind of, you know, just acknowledge that what we said last week is actually going to happen.
All right, we'll stay tuned for March 3rd. And you've got a Facebook Live coming up later this evening with the First Lady. What are you going to be talking about? Yeah,
so Susan is very, wants to see a litter-free Rhode Island, and we've worked on this for well over a year. Tons of trash are being picked up by our groundskeepers at DOT. We've got volunteers that are actually getting grants, and there'll be more eligible grants to do local cleanups. And then, of course, we've got the municipalities doing the same thing. So we're going to talk about how to take the pledge and how to support a litter-free Rhode Island. And then we also got coloring books that are going out with my young leaders. I've actually written a coloring book. Susan will be out there with second graders, with these young leaders, continually reinforcing how important it is not only to have litter-free, but let's paint our landscape with color, with flowers and shrubbery, and really take pride in our state of Rhode Island.
Fabulous. Governor Dan McKee, that's all the time that we have, but thanks for being here.
Oh, you covered a lot, Kim.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks. Yeah.